instance, I do the course. So when I heard from him, I say, now I'm close. How do I convince you to do a course? Am I your father? Does it sound funny when I talk like that? Am I your father? All I can promise is that I'll be coming on dot to teach you. I'll never leave early and I'll never dot. But I cannot convince you to do a course. I'm not your father. Eh? I will teach you well, but I can't convince you to do the course. How? Am I the one who brought you here? You came on a purpose, so fulfill your purpose. I don't know, I don't find it nice to start convincing people to do a course who are supposed to be here. No, I don't do that. But I'll make sure that you get what you deserve. What you need, not in terms of marks, but in content. If you don't perform well in my course, it is not my fault. I'll give you what you get. So don't feel bad that I gave you what little marks. It's what you did. Zafar came here in electronics and sat like for almost 30 minutes. Not writing anything. I don't know what had happened to me. Looked at the paper, looked around, it's like everything had gone. But later on, after sitting for some time, I think he even wanted to hand in, but I pretended I'm not seeing him. After some time, again, some guts started writing something. What had happened? It's now history. You can tell me the truth. The paper. Where was it? The paper was somehow not that not friendly. Yeah. I find it very. So we have now some changes we are going to make permanent. I don't want to call you who is checking to see whether somebody is in the venue or not. The reason I would love to have one venue is because when I take videos, once I know my spot, how to adjust the camera, it becomes easy for me. But when I change this way, then when I'm trying to read to them, I have. But anyway, I look at things differently. So the venue for this course, let's, I think we can keep it here. Okay? The reason I would prefer there is when the apparatus is there, you don't know the usefulness of the apparatus. So you can't be, even if we are electromagnetism, you wouldn't be playing around with all sorts. But even if you did, I don't think you would be able to spoil anything, because you would know. One of you annoyed me really. I want to see him. He's not one of you, he's a third year he was retaken. Oh, if I recall very well, you are welcome back. It's all about what are you now stable? Yes. They told me I couldn't check on you, but nice to see that you're back. So I couldn't, he spoiled the transformer during lab. And he seemed it is okay, he was never bothered. So I said, well, that's the nature of some people from certain areas, that's how they are, they take things easy. He made it worse when he came here when you were doing electronics. He just started with different registration number, different student number. I don't remember whether he also registered on the attendance with wrong details in terms of But they don't think I'm stupid. The reason I normally register you following the paper app is I know you are shrewd. You sit with somebody, then when you are registering, you reverse the paper intention so that they never see that you are together. The reason I take that short video when the camera is always there is to make sure that I follow your face, how you were sitting. And I got him. So I wrote him on Mwele. What surprised me is that he had not registered for the course. It was not on his permit. And me, I had not bothered to check your permits because I trust you. If I spend with you for a month, why should I be checking whether, I don't care whether you pay fees or not. All I care about is seeing you in my exam, doing the exam. So he breached my trust completely. I'm waiting for him. But he has no retake. He didn't even do it last academic year. Whatever academic year he was supposed to be doing it. So he has no retake. He's not a retake. He has no retake anywhere else. He has a good, he has an upper. CGPA not so much, but he has an upper. So I don't know what his problem is. And like I said last time, I'm going to make him dance the tune. I don't know. If he had not spoiled the equipment, I wouldn't mind. I know, they tell you when you're in hostels and whatever, you have this nonsense of you go there, if you are not sure of the course, put wrong things once things are not coming out, they will not find you. So I know colleagues, I'm sure there are colleagues who normally give marks, which are for fake people, and the students are like, that one, I put stupid things, but I still got marks. So they are wondering where marks came from. Not in my class. I'm very particular. This is the second fair I get. The other one was the petroleum one in the Electromagnetism. He did the same thing. I did the scan through the video. I tallied the attendance, and then found he was the one. So he didn't say anything. He didn't complain that he didn't get marks because we held everything. Then when I was teaching, he came and I found him seated. Because I already knew the face. After seeing your name, I got Mwele, I got my videos, and I know exactly how you do it. So I said, please get up. You know what you did. He only did that course after going to the head, wrote a statement and an apology letter. But this one, I'll make him dance. He has to first buy that transformer. I don't care. It's not so expensive, 50K. The transformer, not the box. The transformer which goes about 50K. But I'll post it at 100K. Or let but fix it. But why? Why do you want to be a group when this is the place to become a human being? The 3 years you have here is an opportunity for you to be someone great. Marie, don't you want to be great? So where you were not, those who came late, we did the castle line. And we agreed on the meeting times. So this will be my last time of doing this, since now you have like quorum. And we shall be meeting today up to 12 noon, up to noon. I don't think they say 12 noon. And then tomorrow, a Tuesday, from in the afternoon, from 3 to 5. Is it 3 to 5? Yeah. Yes. So from 15 to 17. This hour didn't have any problem. That means we could meet the other side, but I think we shall be about 35, so we still could stick around and use this place for purposes, and then maybe for electronics and instrumentation, it's the one we shall keep officially the other side, since I'm expecting very soon. So how many are new who are willing, who are thinking of joining electronics and instrumentation. I had voices. For you, Shakira, they are what they call me. DJ. Sega, what you are putting up like this one. The other one is like okay, still the number will be small. You won't be beyond those who did electronics, because you can't do electronics and instrumentation without doing electronics at the end of the day. So these are the meeting times, and I'm thinking of keeping it here. So when we keep it here so that we don't have to hustle. The actual venue was supposed to be physics small for the first hour, and then PM for the second hour. I don't know whether anyone, whoever taught this course before, how he was doing it. But we meet there, and then we just stand, we walk down, we continue. How does that work? I think I made a comment last time that somebody did a timetable and then just pinned it happily. So let's try out. But for this day here, for tomorrow in the afternoon, the lab seems to be just fine. So we could use the other side. The architecture is not so different. The table here is almost like it. So someone may notice, you know that we're in a different. But I'm not willing to use the theater. If all of them were in electric theater, I would be fine with it. I think electronics was okay when we were down there. Okay, so these were the days. Of course, like I always say, where the terms and conditions apply. Everything is there. I've already opened up the introduction, and I think the first week, 12 to 18, I'll be opening up the one of them. So I'll be opening up the weeks when I teach them. That's when I'll be opening them up. Maybe later on I can open up everything when I feel like now you are in a good mood to look at everything. What else do I need to remind you of? The rest, as this is my third time of teaching you, isn't it? So the rest you know. The other things, you know, the other terms and conditions. So I will, we are supposed to finish up the outline. Who wants me to repeat the outline? I did so much that I can't even repeat a line. I did so much. I did so much. We had a whole table of teaching aids that I can't repeat even a line. But the bottom line is that the course is still on the basis of this baby here, and we shall first revise this part and electrostatics. So one is about electrostatics, that is looking at charges when they are moving, and these charges at rest. And then we shall look at the steady currents when the charges are given set in motion. This is charges in motion. And then we look at magnetic fields. And then this is when the result and effect from moving charges. Result and effect. Result and effect from moving charges. So when charges start moving, constitute a current, that current causes a magnetic field around the current. And this is basically the revision of electricity and magnetism. We shall be still revising. This is the revision of electricity and magnetism. So once we have revised electricity and magnetism, this course starts from Maxwell's equations. Maxwell collected all equations that pertain to electricity and stated them in a certain way that can make it. So the course starts from Maxwell's equations. And Maxwell's equations are a basis of telecommunication engineering. Of course, in objectives, we say that this course will help you to introduce you to the undergraduate, postgraduate electromagnetism, which is called the class electrodynamics, something like that. But this one, I'm more interested in letting you go up to the how the electromagnetic waves propagate. So the electromagnetic wave propagation. And when we say electromagnetic waves, this one constitutes the electric component, and this one constitutes the magnetic moment. And sometimes we go with the electric displacement vector, and here we talk of the magnetic flux density. Once it was shown that these can propagate with the speed of light, then Marconi discovered the radio, and transcontinental communication started taking place. We did a lot, and tried to make sure that we enjoy it. Your absence is your own creation, and that wasn't our nation. So you have, there's a video. The video is already on the course, so you go follow through. I'm not going to repeat anything for that purpose. So which number did we end on? On the outline, I want to finish 6. The Poynting vector. So when we have the electric field, and then we cross it with the magnetic field, then we get the direction of this is the horizontal field, which is the magnetic field. It propagates like this, and this is going to be my vertical component, which is propagating in a vertical direction. But like I told those who were there, I'm the only one who can do this, make them both move at the same time, to show that one is horizontal, the other one is vertical. If there's anyone who can try, I can give you some cassava. Even before I do the double thing, you already put it up. So I need to do this, and as this one is, as this is maximum, this is also maximum. So you keep going like this, and if they are reflected, then they have to come. This one I'm still practicing. I haven't perfected it when it reaches the reflection. So you have the magnetic component moving like this. So this is how your electromagnetic wave propagates. Now the cross product of these two waves gives us what we call S, which is the Poynting's vector. Poynting is a guide, so you don't say how is the spelling. This is just a guide. Poynting's vector. Poynting is the one who found out that when you put your hand in sunlight, which is constituting of the electric and magnetic, you feel the warmth. That heat you feel is the Poynting vector, which is the energy flux. Energy flux, the word, whenever you see the word flux, means that field you are talking of per unit area. So if it is electric flux, phi E, then it means that you are talking of the electric field times the area, which is the, what did we get here? If it is 5B, this one is simply BA. So here is what? The B dot S, I mean E dot S. E dot S. So we will look at the plane electromagnetic waves in matter under Poynting vector. Look at isotropic. Isotropic means that all properties are the same in a material in all directions. That's what we mean by isotropic. Homogeneous is uniform. That's getting a nice word to understand why. So if it is having properties in all directions, it is homogeneous, and dimensionally is linear. Then we look at these propagation in such materials, and then we look at the solution of wave equations in conducting and non-conducting media. Conducting media is like if you are using a wire to transfer your electromagnetic wave. Electromagnetic waves will always come bouncing around in space, in free space, which is non-conducting, and then we put an antenna, and then they go in one antenna, and then we use it to put it in a TV. So we are from non-conducting, which is a free space. Then when we put an antenna, they induce a voltage on the antenna, and then we plug in the TV. So across from where the induction took place through the cable of the antenna to the TV, we now be using conducting. And like I said, that would mark the end of the course if we were to follow our curriculum. But I want you to be better. And so I will introduce you to the transmission line. And the transmission line, so it would have been around there. And then you only add a little bit of the retarded potentials and the electric dipole radiation. But I want you also to have an idea of how the transmission line works. And so 7. Those who are not there, don't feel bad. Just make sure you go burn some panels, which actually you don't need to because you'll be on Wi-Fi, and then you will follow through the video which I took. This camera has been nice for me. It makes for me a video which covers the whole lecture. And then if I want to chop, I can, but I have my video which is so the moment I leave here, I just don't need to do anything. Just upload. So everything is right on. So 7, we look at the transmission line. I don't teach you to pass the course. I teach you to understand the course. If I wanted you to just pass the course, I would give you questions every time I come about the topic, we revise them, and then you all get A's. If you want to get A's, you could get. I'm not interested in you getting A's, but getting there. Content. You like me, you don't like me, I don't care. When you become like me, you'll appreciate. There are people who say, I got 90, but I don't know how these things came about. It was like magic. So then we talk of the guided waves using the wave guide. So this is transmission of microwaves. But I think the reason why this was not emphasized in new curriculum is because of the elective optics, microwaves, and fiber optics. It covers most of this stuff. When you are transmitting so transmission of microwaves. Then under transmission of microwaves, we talk of the transverse electric and transverse magnetic waves. For hollow waveguides. Whenever we want to move from one medium to the other medium, we need to know the effects of the boundary between these two media. So we look at the boundary conditions. Boundary conditions for metallic waveguides. Then hollow rectangular waveguides. Then we look at the eigenfunctions. Eigenfunctions and Murray integers. Eigenfunctions and Murray integers. And math major here. Huh? They can't accept that. I've had, when I'm teaching this course, I've had math majors come home. So I'm, pardon? And the math major won't need electronics? Geometry. Then waveguide as a high pass filter. The language is all sounding complex, but this is when you have in electrostatics, we shall be able to look at the potential within an arrangement of electrodes. So if you add these electrodes and they are conning this way, we can find potential in the middle here. So if we can find the potential in the middle here, we shall use this knowledge to know if we were to transmit an electric field across these electrodes. Then that's, of course, this is already a waveguide. We are trying to guide a wave in here and transport it wherever we are transporting it. So we need to know how everything works out. But here we are looking at this being acting as a high-pass filter, which only passes the high frequency and cuts out the low frequency. Then 8, we look at the radiation. How do we produce the waves anyway? If we are saying that we are tapping radio waves from the transmitter, how do we generate them at the transmission to make sure that we send them for whatever we want to use them for? So radiation of electromagnetic waves. So you can write this in full, electromagnetic waves, if you want. Because everything is on where these days I'm trying to make my life easy. So this is where this one is still part of the course, but as if it is under electromagnetic waves. We have the wave equation, planar electromagnetic wave in the media, polarization of electromagnetic waves, planar electromagnetic waves in the conducting media, reflection and refraction of the plane at a plane surface. Now here, generation of electromagnetic waves is now what we're talking about according to the book. And and the rest behind is almost the same as what we are modeled for. So look at the retarded scalar and vector potential. Retarded scalar and vector potentials. Then we shall look at the electric dipole radiation. Electric dipole radiation. We did this in the electricity and magnetism when we had two equal in magnitude but opposite charges put at a distance in between them, small compared to the distance where we were expecting an electric field. And then we looked at the potential that this would produce. Then if this can produce some oscillation, we look at electric dipole oscillator. Dipole oscillator. And then we look at the scalar and vector potentials for this dipole oscillator. Scalar and vector potential, scalar and vector potential for the dipole oscillator, for the dipole oscillator. Then we have computation of the Poynting's vector, computation of the energy flux, which is Poynting's vector, and power radiation for dipole oscillator, and radiation power. Power radiation for the dipole oscillator. For the dipole oscillator. We got two references, there are a bunch of them, but we got two references. Both of them are in soft copy and on the course. And this is introduction to electronics. Introduction to electrodynamics. By David J. Griffiths WF. Then you can understand more about electric fields and most especially dielectrics, especially the interfaces by using this second reference, electromagnetic fields. Electromagnetic fields. And waves by Paul Roden. I think there's another person, but I chose Paul Roden. Both of these are in soft copy on the web, so there is no excuse to be given that the library is closed or whatever. They are on. So this is the outline that I've used for 0Y. The outline in the book in this new curriculum starts with electrostatic fields in free space. You know, a mention of electric field intensity, Gauss's law, electric potential, electrostatic energy of the charge distribution. And then electrostatic fields in matter, where we did polarization, electric displacement, electric susceptibility, forces on the electrics in electrostatic fields, energy density in the electrics. And then Poisson and Laplace. So we started from Poisson and Laplace in listing the outline for the course. But of course we shall start from the basics. When the two charges are near each other, they attract or repel. And that force was formed out by 1 coulomb. That's the far we shall start, so that we just have a recap. Semester system assumes that I can go choose to do a course and I shouldn't be bothered by what was linked to the course before. That's how semester system works. Those days of term system, what you studied in term 1 would affect affect term 2, then term 3 would be the time when they're asking even what you did in term 1. Semester made life easy. You cover, what you cover is what it concerns you, and then you should be able to pass. Then Poisson Laplace solution of simple potential problems in Cartesian, spherical and cylindrical. Same thing we did last time. Stationary electric fields in Carnot media, conservation of charge, equation of continuity, calculation of resistance of coaxial cable and of the two-wire lane, and ohmic losses involved. Then magnetic field loss, divergence and curl P, magnetic dipole, magnetic scalar and vector potentials, magnetization and magnetization current, magnetic meridians, Band conditions of the field vectors B and H, electromagnetic induction, the integral and differential forms of the Faraday's law, energy stored in a magnetic field, self and mutual inductance, and the basis of cellular communication, which is Newman's formula. The actual course starts from Maxwell's equation by looking at the displacement carrying and the modified Ampere's law, Maxwell's equations in different form, bound conditions of the field vectors E, B, and H, energy in the electromagnetic field, which is the Poynings given by the Poynings theorem, whereby Poynings vector is the energy flux, and those are joules per meter square. And then the electromagnetic waves, we look at the wave equation, the plane electromagnetic waves in the Sylvanian media, polarization of electromagnetic waves, plane electromagnetic waves in the connecting media, how they get reflected on the plane surface, and then generation of these waves leading to retarded potentials, electric dipole radiation. The course will be handled with the laboratory work, which is not there. To tell you, I'll try to do a couple of chopping some numbers, and the lectures will be the main basis. There are more references here in the book here. The other reference added is one of our own, Professor Benon. May he so rest in peace. These are lectures for distance education. They are my notes, but with a lot of objectives and references and worked examples and self-assessment examples. The other one is Feynman, Layton and Sons, Feynman lectures in physics. The other one is Introduction to Electromagnetic Theory by the same guy. You can also go ahead and do the, I think, classical electrodynamics by Jackson. It's up to you. I just give you a few things to make sure that you have a little bit of. So the outline on this outline of the new curriculum is also on Word, and I think it is interactive. Interactive in the sense that you'll find that words like I've already rubbed Maxwell, but words like retarded potential, if they are greenish, it means that they are hyperlinked. Hyperlinking meaning that when you click on them, they take you to everything about retarded potentials on the Wikipedia, so that you can get more information. So I made that if you see anything called interactive course outline, I think we did it also, there was one in Electromagnetism, where keywords, words that would really, you would wish to have more meaning, I hyperlinked to a Wikipedia link so that you can understand more. Gone are the days whereby I'm the jar and you are the mark. And I just pour knowledge into you and then you go shaking that I'm now full. You can be more loaded than I am. It shouldn't be right. He's a DJ, he does stuff that I can't do. So if I wanted to consult, I can consult him and say, how do you do this damn thing? Because I'm ignorant about it. But of course, you know my attitude about the kids. I don't believe there is a kid in secondary who is loaded than the teacher. It's a myth. There are kids who have parents who are professors, and when they are chatting with them, they explain to them complex stuff. But that doesn't mean that they are knowledgeable in chronology of what they start at school. They may be just knowledgeable in that bit which they are relative talked about, unless they are doing homeschooling at the end of the day. So we're going to produce people who are argumentative, who know how to debate, but when it comes to content, they can't happen. Because there isn't any school in this country which has a well-equipped computer lab and the internet. This is mathematics. These are mathematical terminologies. This one I've already tried to insinuate using the example of the electrons which are put together. And then if you are able to find the electric field in the middle by looking at the potential, then you can as well be able to know the electric field. So same thing as this, if you get the two charges, plus Q and minus Q, then these two are able to produce an electric field somewhere there. So if you can utilize this electric field, which is related to these ones, it means that you can play around with these two in order to affect the electric field at that point, and be able to communicate. So you can generate the electromagnetic waves using the dipole oscillator, and someone be able to get sense out of it. And then of course the computation of the, if you got some other information about the electric and the magnetic component, then you can easily know what is along the direction of propagation, which is the energy flux. So then you can be able to get the amount. And of course, once you got energy per unit area, then you can actually get power from the energy. The work done, the energy per unit work done in a given period of time will be able to give you the power, how powerful you work. So we know how powerful we work by knowing the energy you are using for a particular, or for a given duration. A course outline is a skeleton. The meat you put on depends on your workout. God gave all of us the skeleton. Some will have nyash, others will have muscles. It's up to how you will manage to shape up your skeleton. So I've just given you the skeleton. So you can go to the gym, which is the library, and then you put on some, just because the shirt is not there, but I have some good muscle. I have the muscle. If you want, I can roll up and you see how big it is. It is there. It is there. So, but this is not the muscle I'm talking about. I'm talking about you going to the library and then you put nyash around the, sorry, we put the muscle around the, around the skeleton. Online it is nyash these days which trends, so that's the one that comes to my mind. I don't know, our times, during our times, it wasn't an issue. Maybe we grew up with like where I started from, nyash was a constant, so it was a not an issue. It's now here in Kampala, where people take it as a regular. So we start the course. Electrostatics. When we got a charge stationary or charger stationary, we look at their being static, which is electrostatics. And a lot of work was done by one Kulu. So Kulu discovered some bit of issues around the charges, and he formulated a law, so we say Kulu's law. He's a French, so you don't say Kulumbu. That is for Masoro. French will not pronounce the last name Kulu. So the force on the point charge, the force on a point charge Q, force on the point charge Q due to a single charge, small single point charge, due to a single point charge, small q, due to a single point charge. The word point shouldn't confuse you. Just a single one charge, point at a point charge. Point charge Q, which is not a rest. Sorry, which is a rest because we are talking of electrostatics. Which is a rest. A distance R, a distance small r away in free space. Is given by so Kulu found that when you have two similar charges, they repel each other, and when you have two opposite charges, they attract each other. Some years back, I would relate this to human beings. Nowadays, I am confused. I don't know how I compare them to the students. But, sorry, not students, but human beings. I could have said opposite sex always attract, same sex repel. Of course, it was always hard to find two women, happily together, like walking together, and you would always find that they are like, one is stressed about the other's hair. But these days things are not, they don't work normally. Although when it would come to the like currents, then it would come out almost fair okay, because the fields near each other here would be opposite. If this was current I1 and this is current I2, this being B2 and this being B1, the currents are the same, but the fields are different. So they would attract each other, much as we are seeing similar currents, but the fields are. I hope no one will ever, of these crusaders, will ever get to see this magnetism explanation, because I've been troubled. This when people will say, but you are also ready. Say, no, but inside I feel like a man. So this is the connotation of the two. They are like, so when we talk of like currents, they attract, which opposes the like charges, we say, and like poles of the magnet also repel. You got north, we repel south, repel, but south-north attract each other. So Coulomb did some experiment and got wrong, and he was able to find out that the force between these two charges would be given by some constant, which is K, and then the product of these two charges, the charge, this other point charge Q, and this other single point charge small q, and then inversely proportional to the distance between them. This distance here, which is R. And this was at high school level, you wouldn't care where this force is active. You'd only just be able to talk of the force. But at our level now, we want to know which one was affecting the other. Was the big one attracting the small one, so that it was the small one now was being forced to move towards the big one? Was the big one pushing away the small one, so that now we find out that the Coulomb force is from the big one to the small one? So that means that we would want to know where the force is going, not the basis of having the other roof, the unit direction vector. This vector only gives you a chance to know the direction of the vector. Its magnitude is unit, is 1. Its purpose is only to show you the direction. So this is the unit direction vector. Doesn't change anything about your vector. Its purpose is only to show you the direction. Maybe I could compare it to yesterday when I was watching news. They had a section of the women who do business and don't tell their men. So some were saying that if I tell my man may relax and know that now I make money and forget to leave Kameza. So I think a wife is like in direction vector. Adds no money, but only helps you to become a father. Also introduce yourself as a big man. So her money remains money. Her money. Because what said there? So she remains unity. 1. The magnitude is 1. Just chewing your money and keeping hers. And then you. But it gives you direction, eh? It gives you direction. It's a unidirectional vector. So we can draw this whereby we have the charge, the unit charge here, and then we have the charge Q, and then this will be, please make sure these lines are straight. And this is the distance between the two. So just a reminder of what a lot of things we did. We're not going to do those many examples of the potential electric fields, because we did that in electricity. But now we're just trying to remind ourselves of when we are having charges, what happens. So if we have this was just for a single point charge, small q, and a point charge, capital Q, and a distance between them is R. Then the Coulomb force here shows that this charge here is probably being attracted by this Q, and then the Coulomb force is in this direction. If it is repulsion, then the Q was bigger and is repelling this one, we would have it ending up pointing this other direction. And to have that scenario, we do the scenario of the case of the two charges, Q1 and Q2, because those will now help us to get the two directions easily. So thus if charges, Q1 and Q2 at a distance R from 1 to 2, that is R1, 2, then I'm just drawing them facing this way to make sure that we don't get fixed with them being on the horizontal. Like being as long as they are in space, we can make them look wherever they can look. And so we got Q1, we got Q2, and then we got the, if we are now looking at this unidirectional vector on this side, that means we'll be having this is the R1, 2 between them. Then it means that when we are, the vector here, the unidirectional vector would be pointing from charge 2 towards 1. So this will be 2, 1. And this other one here would be from charge Q1 to 2. So this is where the nomenclature of the 1, 2 comes in terms of the wordings. So who is very short here that I'm taller than? So that I am part of the example. Who is very short that I can, who is shorter than me? Because I just want to be part of the example. Yeah. So BFT, you can say BFT is taller than Shakira. Or you can say, you can start with Shakira and say Shakira is shorter than BFT. So it depends on how interested you are in explaining this scenario or this case. So you can either talk of this force on charge Q1 due to charge Q1. That crew force will be, so the F12 can be interpreted or said by people in a different way. That you are looking at the force on charge 1 due to charge 2, or the force charge 1 exerts on charge 2. They mean the same, but said differently. So just want us to emphasize or understand more about the nomenclature of the 1 and 2 for the two charges 1 and 2 in terms of looking at the force between them, the crew force between them. So the force on Q2, or the force of Q2 on charge Q1 is given by, how do I write this? F21. So we have F21 will be the same as the constant K, product of these two charges, then the distance between them, which is R12, doesn't matter. It is square. Doesn't matter whether I am moving from point A to point B or moving from point B to point A. What matters is the distance. So when it comes to the square, it doesn't matter because I'm not interested from where it was coming from going to. So R21, R12, but square doesn't matter. For purposes of looking nice, we keep it 1, 2. But 2, 1, 1, 2 square is the same. So and the force on Q2 this is now Q1. On Q1 due to Q2 is given by, so I don't want you to work out your head and like, how do I say the 2, 1, how do I say the 1, 2, it doesn't matter. As long as you know that what matters is about the distance between them, the magnitude and the product of their magnitudes won't change anything, but just make sure that you know where the force the notion of understanding, was it a force of attraction or a force of repulsion? That's where the issue comes in. Because if I have two charges and they are attracting each other, of course the one which will be more made to be attracted, just like a relationship. Some people who are in a relationship, you find that one of you has to be more I don't know which term I can use. So you find that either, yes, she says submissive. So if I'm too rich and I got a lady, she will always be having to come for my money. So I'm the guy. But if money is not so much and she's so beautiful, then I'll always be the beggar. Like I don't want her to leave me. So there has to be something that makes a tipping point to make sure that there is always chaos. There is always a kavuyo in the relationship. So isn't kavuyo chaos? Yes. Yeah, so that there is always something that makes you work out for it. So the force 1, 2 is equal to K, Q1, Q2, and then we got the other 1, 2 squared, and what I didn't put here. So this one is supposed to be 2, 1, and then the roof. So the indirection vector from 2 to 1. And then I already said that if I walk from here to here, and I'm also talking of walking from here to here, but I'm squaring, it doesn't matter. It has no direction connotation, so it won't be able to mess me up.
My question is with the statement, as if it's the same thing as what you mentioned.
As before.
Yes, the force on Q1 due to Q2.
The force of Q2 on Q1. The force on Q1 due to Q2. The force,
it's the same.
It's the same, so we should put here 2 and put here 1.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. That's the same thing that is here. So this is 1, 2, roof. Yes? The K. I should always not do it. So you want to know why I'm trying to make this one look like this, and as long as it is small. As long as it is small, I won't mind so much. For this one, I want to be so strict. There are people who can't write this other one. Very many people, you find to write it is a problem. Because you find it is like an R, eh? Just like there are some of you who cannot do this. Then you find you are doing like this. Which is okay, but which is not okay. There is a symbol which I used to tell students to write, but then they would fail. We shall also meet error, which some of you call na. This one here. Some is called na. It's called error. So error also is a problem. And others would call it coefficient of viscosity. Even when we are using it in electromagnetism as the we shall meet it in the transmission of electromagnetic waves. And somebody still calls it coefficient of viscosity. And it's comfortable that this is the coefficient of viscosity. It's called error. It's not a coefficient of viscosity. Where the K is concerned about is the same as 1/4 pi epsilon naught. Sometimes given as 9 times 10 to the power 9 And then you can use it's up to you, you can choose which units to use. And from Nericon, we said we can find these units. So the only thing that is having units is epsilon, but it all comes from the units of the force, and this force was equal to the Coulomb squared, and then we have the meter squared, and the K was here. Okay? So if we make the K the subject, we would be having, these would be neurons. So we would have neurons, meter squared, and then because we are dividing both sides by Coulomb, so it would be per Coulomb. You don't need to cram everything. You can always derive them and get them out. So neurons, meter squared, per Coulomb squared. But if you want to get them out of here straight away, from the K units being equal to the 1 over 4 pi, which is impedance, and 1 over farad per meter, then it would be the same as per farad per, meter per farad. And this epsilon naught that is existing here is called the permittivity of free space. It's called the permittivity of free space. Because we're going to look at the electric fields and magnetic fields moving in free space, we're going to be so interested about how they are permitted within, how these electric field lines are permitted. The magnetic fields permeate through a medium. The electric field lines get permitted within the medium. So the permittivity of free space, epsilon naught is the same as 8.85 times 10 to the power negative 12. You can say volts per meter, or you can actually get it from here. This was epsilon naught. So it was the opposite of this. It's 1 over k, which will be per Newton per meter squared Coulomb squared. So we start with Coulomb squared per Newton per meter squared, or farads per meter. So we now have an idea. Coulomb helped us to find out how two charges will be affected. Much as they are stationary, but they are under stress. You wake up at home, but you are still having stress. This one comes late and but where are you? Still in office. Are you sure? Then smells at you whether you have another perfume. But you are stationary. They are stationary. But Coulomb was able to find out the relationship between these two charges. You can have a bunch of charges, like Shakira. Where is the Rajat here? Shirat. So if it is a Haji, now things are different. This one produced all the girls, this one produced all the boys, this one has a mix, these ones are clever, these ones are beautiful, these ones are fake. So we look at the principle of superposition. Principle of superposition. So we look at when we get a bunch of charges, how is the mix? So the electrostatic force on a charge, the pressure on the hatch, the electrostatic force on the charge Q naught due to point charges due to a distribution of point charges Qi, where I is a couple of them from 1 to how many just one gas to have without problems? Should I? At a position 4, or you can even have 10. At position Ri, from the point charge, Q naught is a vector sum of the forces, exerted individually on the Q naught. So people praise Muslims to be very business-minded people. It ain't about business. It is how to keep these hajats happy. You have to hustle. So you have to run business by force. So that's when you are a Catholic and you are wedded and she's yours in poverty and richness. You don't have to hustle. But the Hajj has to hustle to keep his hajats happy. So he will be having a business here, another one in Chikubo, to keep these ones at least. So their effect on you, how you keep buying them stuff when it comes to fasting, you have to make sure everybody has that. So this exerted individual here would be the one contributing to the sum of the effects on the Hajj. So for a discrete distribution of charge, we can take this Hajj here, having to cater for all these Hajjats. Q1, Q2, one is in Buziga, other one is in, let me stop on 4 as their religion says. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then so the distances between them, we have this one being the RI4. So you can have this one should be R20, R20, then R30, R40, R10. Kulu force says that the Kulu force is the same as the product of the magnitude of these two charges over the square of the distance between them, and then you specify the direction in which they are acting, and then we shall add them up to get the force that is acting on the stress that Hajj is experiencing at the end of the day. So the force F, the effective force F, is given by F equals to the sum of from the first charge Q1, the Q naught, the naught is the actual charge being affected, up to N of them, because we said there are QI charges where I is from charge 1, charge 2, charge 3, it is up to 4. We've taken only 4 of them for this simple distribution of discrete charges. Discrete for countable. Discrete variables can be counted, and then normally we use the summation because we cannot mark. Continuous charges or continuous distribution means that we can't count them, we only integrate them together. So with the integral, we stretch this out because it is continuous. So this would be the same as K, Q naught, Qi over R I naught squared, and then R roof, Ri naught roof, where the K, we've already said that is the same as the 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught, which is the same as 9 times 10 to the power 9. And of course the epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space. We can try to make sure that we bring in a couple of things that we got. So this would imply that F is the same as the Q naught. Q naught is common to all of them. And then we will have the over 4 pi epsilon naught for K. Inu. So here this should have been Q naught Q1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Ri naught squared. So we shall have Ri naught squared. Ri naught, R10, not I naught. The I naught is 1. Roof plus, then we got charge 2 over R20 squared, R20 roof plus, according to our question, according to our statement, before we even drew this diagram. Then this would be the same as Qn over Rn0 squared, Rn naught roof or 0, whichever you want to talk about. With this that takes us back here, we can get electric field density out of it from force being the same as the product of the charge times the electric field density. Then we can find out the electric field density as the, like I said, this being a revision, if I skip something, don't say, but how come now we have jumped to electric field density, but we are on a Kulu force, we are doing revision, and I trust that you have knowledge about this stuff. So, where the electric field density of this distribution would be given by 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught, and then we get the sum from the first charge to n of them, and then we have the Qi over R I squared, R roof I. And we can choose a given quantity where P is the position, or well, where EP is electric field density at point P is the electric field density. The electric field density at point field density at a particular point P. So we have now reminded ourselves, and this was for countable charges. How about the continuous distribution of charges? When we got a charge distributed along the line, charge distributed along a surface, charge distributed along or within a volume. So for continuous distribution of charge, canvas distribution of charge, whereby it is either distributed along a line or along a surface or along a volume. So we start with the line, linear distribution of charge, linear distribution of charge. This linear distribution of charge, it means that what we had as a summation of charges from charge 1 to n of them, Qi of Ri squared, Ri roof, would transition in a stretching of this summation line, so the summation symbol, in an integral over this line. And this integral will be the R roof over the 4 pi epsilon naught R squared. This is the constant, and the distance between the element or the elemental charge and the point where you are taking the electric field energy, and then you have the linear charge density, dl, giving you the elemental charge. So that's how we got it. And then diagrammatically is when we talk of a line distribution of charge with an element here, dl, element of this line, and we are talking of the at a distance r, looking for electric field energy at this point in a space x, y, z, at a point x, y, z.
How come in this expression you don't include the 1/4 pi x?
Which one?
Yes.
This one here?
No, yes, but this side.
Ah, okay, this other side, sorry, it should be there. You can't, so maybe I could be stubborn and say k, but let's put it here. It is there. It's, actually, even here it is beautifully there. Because I don't think I remember it. I think I would write it and nobody would care. Where lambda is the linear, where lambda is the linear charge density. Or is the charge distributed along the line. So this means that at a given point P, with coordinates x, y, z, then we would be able to get the electric field intensity at this point P being the same as the integral over the line, 1/4 pi epsilon naught, then R roof of R squared lambda dl. So the electric field intensity at a given point P is the same as the 1/4 pi epsilon naught integral over this line here of charge. Then we have R roof over the R squared lambda dl. We write it nicely like this, just to make sure that it looks like it's complicated. Whereas we just put the lambda dl of R squared and then we put the R on the outside to show the direction. But making sure the R's are the same, are near each other, just to make it look like as if it's a complicated thing. R roof, for emphasis, is the unit vector from element of charge, this one here, to the point from the element of charge dl. The element of charge is the dl. To the observation point, to the observation point, this point here, the distance r, so, and then we say, and then r is the distance. R is the distance from the element of charge, to point P. Next is to look at the surface distribution of charge, then volume, and then we will be done with how all this stuff will look like. Two, under continuous distribution of charge, if we sprinkle charge on the plane surface, then we will be able to get the, so 2 is the surface distribution of charge. Surface distribution of charge. So we got our surface, this piece of paper, sprinkle charge on it. It is rugged. This one is rectangular, but if it is rugged, not a particular, not a given particular dimension field factor whereby I can say length and width. So I will have to choose a little bit of it, an element of charge, and from this element of charge to the observation point P, then I find out a distance r here. I can find the electric field intensity that would be experienced here if this was to begin with my narrow surface, and the total surface area of this whole thing was. So the electric field intensity, at this point P would be the same as 1/4 pi epsilon r, and then we are integrating over a surface, and when we talk over a surface we are so keen about the x and y, so this is along the surface, and then we have the sigma ds over the r squared, or maybe I should write it in a complicated way like we've been doing it. So we have r roof over r squared sigma ds, where sigma is not conductivity, neither is it, I don't remember which other symbol, which other definition we used it for, but it is not conductivity, it is now the surface charge density. So you have to be flexible the way you were flexible in electricity and magnetism. That at one point when we are dealing with these distributions of charge, it is charge density. When we go to the stationary currents, we talk of this sigma as being the conductivity. When we looked at the Joule's model on how conductivity takes place, and I think when we reach somewhere in front, probably electromagnetic wave still remains as conductivity, but there are some other places where you find that sigma means something else. So you need to know where you are at what particular time for what purpose. So where sigma is the surface charge there, is the surface charge density, and the other roof is still our unit vector, is the unit get from the surface element, and the surface element is this element here. Yes. Not far from the what we need to summarize, but here we are just trying to make sure that we chop, we get to see it the way it looks like, rather than going because the idea was that we look for Coulomb's law. We look at this as an elemental charge, whereby this elemental charge dq would be the same as the elemental surface multiplied by the surface charge density. And then once you got the elemental charge, then you find out if there was a charge Q naught here. When you have gotten the Coulomb law, electric field density is the force, Coulomb force per unit charge. Then you divide by this Q naught, and then you get the electric field density. We ain't going that. We are mature, we are very smart, so we won't go in that direction. 3. The volume distribution of charge. Volume distribution of charge. With charge density, rho. In current electricity, or especially the currents, we shall be talking about the resistivity as our rho. Which other definition of rho is in the future? That is for properties of matter and probably mechanics. But I mean during our course, we get to use rho as a density anywhere. We've already used it here, it is also a density here, but now we are looking at the charge per unit volume. So this is density. The density you're talking about is the mass per unit volume. So it's like a mass density. This is a charge density. When you're talking about population for a given region, then you talk about population density. Only that you run density, so you think density is like a rho, just that's how you run density for water, whatever it is. It's about, once you are dividing by something, it becomes that density. If you divide by length, charge by length, we get charge density, linear charge density. Charge density divided by, charge divided by the distance. We divide, we sprinkle it on the surface and then divide that charge we have sprinkled by that area, then we talk of surface charge density. We sprinkle on the surface, and we're talking about the surface area where we have sprinkled the charge. So we get a charge density. We put it in a volume, then we talk of volume charge density. So the idea is what are you dividing by and what are you dividing? So we get a population and divide it in like a small water, we talk of the population density. Hello. What is it? You need what? For what? For saying that. Not enough. So you want to disturb it? You can't get. They are here, most of them are here. They are here, no? They are here, in here. So we got the so we got our small volume, so we got a small tube here. Then we also go to our observation point P, still X, Y, Z. And this is now the tau, for if the whole volume of this distribution is tau. Tau was, now tau is the volume charge density. Soon tau will be the time between two consecutive collisions, which is the relaxation time. Tau will be something else, I don't know which one. Tau, when we reach the equation of continuity, we shall be having to replace tau being the same as, I think, sigma of epsilon, and it becomes something else. We still have this as the position vector from the element to the observation point, and if we want to be interested in the direction of the electric field density, then we can have the R roof here, like this. And then we have an observation point P, X, Y, Z, along there. And then we shall have the electric field density being the same as 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught integral over the volume X, Y, Z, volume tau, and then I still want to put it as R roof over the R squared, and then we have the rho tau, which comes from the elemental charge related with the charge which you are using to investigate, and then when you get the electric field density, which is the group force per unit charge, then the charge which you are using to investigate makes it collapse. When you knock, you know there's somebody. So when you look at somebody who maybe you know, but I don't know whether you knock and you expect nobody. So once we know the Coulomb force, we know the electric field density, then we now want to, what happens when we have these electric field lines focused on a given area. And that gives us a chance to look at the Gauss's law of electrostatics. So we shall stop at, we shall go when we have reminded ourselves of the Gauss's law. And then starting from tomorrow, it's going to be a wrap. Honeymoon is done. So you should come when you are really interested in enjoying the running of the marathon. How was yesterday's marathon? What? Who ran? You ran from where to where? It was what? So, so you, where did you run? We are here from Freedom Square and then run back there. So where did you pass?
They said from where to where?
Hey, where did you pass? There must be an initial, that's what we're going to be. There must be an initial point and the end point, otherwise no work done.
We ran for 21 kilometers from passing school, then came back about 7 came.
Couldn't you just contribute the money for the center without running around?
There was an hour for the best runner.
So you won, eh? So then the award was in terms of what? Money or something else?
A medal and money.
So you will contribute money, then give out money?
Money was given out motivation to have many participants and many places.
I'm going to run I just want to run to contribute. So how will you motivate me?
Some will go there to see who will win, and now that will create a bigger field for collecting.
That's how you look at it. Gauss's law Gauss's law of electrostatics. So how much did you contribute?
Me?
How much did the van collect? Was it an amount?
No.
Why?
You don't understand.
The man was around.
I don't know whether you understand my question
Yes.
or the spirit in my question. Money was collected through buying a jersey, the kits and light. A little bit of it was given out to the winners. So how much did you collect? How will you do the accountability?
I'm not part of the committee.
You're not part of the committee. But is it hard to, by the time this passed, is it hard to say that the kids collected for us, 20 million and we've just given out 5 million and we have 15? Is it so hard? Then you can't have a course doing anything if you find it hard to, for example, if you look at Yoramaja, this Vrumra, is it called what? Vrumra and Yoramaja. Each SMS is 2,000. So if you have 1 million Airtel subscribers and only each one is sending only one SMS for 2,000 to participate in your Amaji, or is it called Vroom or something? Then they would collect 2 billion. You don't understand, you don't think about it. 1 million subscribers will collect 2 billion for sending just an SMS of 2,000. They will buy, if each Harrier or whatever vehicles they are using is 50 million, they can use 500 million for 10 of them. They put words on them, start driving them around, they still got 1.5 billion. For free. That's why I'm asking you, how much did you collect? But in a telecom company, money flows, everyone will be seeing how the SMSs came. The manager who proposed the campaign will be able to show, then they buy you the vehicles for 500 million, they use 100 million for branding them, then they now have 1.4 billion. Then they chop the 400 billion and then they have a profit of 1 billion. But a bunch of nuts will be sending like 10 SMSs to win the vehicle. So you will understand how much they will collect. I've only taken 1 million, but most of these telecom companies talk about 19 million subscribers. So even if you say the 10, that is how many billions? 20 billion, just in a tap in all the bank. Then before you have to make me run around. The electric flux. The electric flux. You know how many students you are? You know how many students you are? In the university?
About
38,000. Multiply by 1,000. So we can say 30 million. So by saying that each student sends 1K per month, 1K, they will say that one I'll give. And then you also you craft the SMSs to thank them for contributing this month. You have 30 million every month from university students who are giving happily. It's small money, they don't feel it. And by the end of the semester, for the 4 months, you have whatever you wanted to do. We are more than 100K alumni. If you said if you are a Makerere alumni, just send us 5K per month, and then we shall be having a raffle to win a vehicle, and then how much will you collect? I've already told you Airtel will do that, and if you put a vehicle there in Freedom Square to be one with the logos of Makerere. Every album I will be sending money to him. You just get those their names, you put in the thing, you do like this, you close the eyes, you say, this nonsense of running around as if you... pardon?
To entertain you because you had their
I do not.
games is also
I
part
cannot explain. I go home playing music in my bed.
then
What?
games.
You know that you me and me. Okay, the time is almost done, and I'm not in a rush for anything to start on something. When it is beautiful, then we will go. So the speed is going to be really. In electricity and magnetism, I was slow because I wanted you to meet me again in electromagnetism. But here, I don't give a damn. So you are already mature, you know why you came here, so I'll be too speedy. No, I won't be too speedy, but I want to make sure that the basics, we rush through them. And then when we reach where we need to really do work, I'll be slow. That's why on tomorrow we start at 3, but what do you have at 2? Huh? Geophysical methods. It's an electric. Okay, and after? At 6? Numerical analysis. So you are just trying to make me not, but anyway, I always use psychology so that you are always the ones who have refused, not me.